Hey everyone, we're back finally post Christmas and New Year's and stuff, and back in Vancouver. It's episode 161.
What's your name?
I'm getting there.
Are you though?
It's New Year, new order of speech. I did realize it was out of order,
New
and I
year,
did know I was going to
new
do it.
you. Now you talk backwards.
New year, new me, no name. And now no name brand. I'm coloring myself yellow and just sans serif font only.
You have gazing eyes now, because you're no name.
And then I swallow the computer whole.
Oh, please don't.
Welcome to the Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast.
No!
What are we talking about today, Victoria? I'm Devin, by the way.
I had a whole intro thing figured out. I figured it out a couple hours ago. You ruined it.
Well, next episode.
In the alternate universe where you didn't ruin it, I was gonna say, I cried when I saw a picture of Emily Osment and Haley Joel Osment at the Golden Globes today because it was so beautiful.
But you didn't, because that's not this universe.
But that's not what I said.
But you didn't.
But I teared up because they looked happy and they're beautiful and I love them and they look healthy and I'm happy.
This is episode 161. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about the families.
Yeah, top 10 fams.
Top 10. Well, we're gonna start with that T.
Yeah.
That T. We're gonna T-pose.
As all top 10 lists do.
Devin T-pose.
You can T-pose. I just dabbed. It's your turn.
No.
It's
T.
That's not a T-pose.
Yeah, it is.
That's a Kermit pose.
What's the difference?
A lot. Yeah, I guess we should just start, probably. This is nonsense.
Where have you been for all the other episodes?
For the last 160 years that we've been doing this. Alright. We should probably alternate, right? We probably should have figured this out beforehand. That's what we usually do. Right? I guess we're not reading a scripted thing, so
you want to do odds or evens?
I'll start. Number 10, top 10 family. How did we come up with this list? What was the metric that we kind of used?
We came up with families that this is based on the interactions between the characters in the family.
So it's not just like, I like these people, I like some of these people who happen to be in this family.
I like this son in this family, and I hate the rest of the family, but this particular son, Jared, is my favorite character. Jared.
Jay.
So, top of the list.
Yeah. No, we want to focus on, the interactions between the characters, how much development, both character and plot-wise, do they get in terms of the family unit, and how much do we personally, enjoy getting episodes about this family, as a cohesive unit interacting together.
Which is why Jared's not on the list. No, I'm kidding. But he's
for the
actually
whole 2 episodes where he appears with Trent.
Yeah.
Okay, so bottom of the list, number 10 is the Parkers. We got David, we got Ava, we got Olivia, Matthew, Camilla, Lucia.
And the other 20 children they have locked in the basement who impersonate all the kids we know regularly.
Yeah, the alternate David.
It's like when you're seeing something on Broadway
Steven
and
Universe.
One of the kids gets too tired, so they just have another one sub in for a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, the Parkers. They are our third main family on Adventures in Odyssey, chronologically. Where this is the main family right now, and they're the current main family, obviously.
I think you said the Kermit main family for a moment.
A family with 3 kids instead of the, usually we focus on 2 young kids, and maybe in the case of the Washingtons, so you can have Xavier because he's older and stuff. But
the Washingtons always have a spare kid.
Yeah.
They had 3 spare kids.
Yeah. So a family with a variety of interests, a variety of talents, a variety of culture, half white, half Latin, Their Mexican heritage is something that we get to see more and more, especially when Lucia started becoming an increasingly recurring character. And then she finally moved permanently to Odyssey to be with her grandchildren. The kids participate in a variety of stories with interests ranging from like technology and science to writing and the fine and liberal arts to sports. And so it allows them to like be in a whole bunch of different episodes, a bunch of like different sorts of stuff because they cover like a wide swath of
The word
things.
grandchildren is above the word stories and with, and my brain skimmed over those 3 words quickly, and I thought it said, she moved permanently to Odyssey to be with her sandwich.
Oh, and okay, I see it now.
It's a triangle.
I see it, yeah. So the kids get to appear in so many episodes because we have 3 of them. They all have very different interests, and because they have different interests, that also creates a good source of inter-family conflict because, you know, we get kids who are interested in so many different things, which creates scheduling conflicts. It creates storage and hobby conflicts and, like, the way that they value certain things when they're, you know, figuring out whatever family scheduling or, like, what kind of stuff they need to throw away in the yard sale, things like that.
I like to call the Parkers Barclay Light, and
Mhm.
it's because of clutter.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever called them that.
Ava also finds herself in many episodes without the rest of her family, as, like many other good families on the list to come, she is a parent in a profession that allows her to be a standalone character from her children in standalone episodes. Like Ava's nursing work allows her to be in episodes both in Odyssey and abroad with Lily Graham and Jeff Lewis. Apart from her kids, just like George Barclay was able to be in episodes as a pastor apart from being the father of his children. Ed as the owner of what's in Connellsville apart from his kids. Even Dale Jacobs as the editor of the Odyssey Times.
Spoilers.
One of those families isn't even on the list. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah, I know. When you said that name, I was thinking, wait, why aren't they on the list?
I'm just giving examples. Like, a lot of good families historically on the show have at least one parent where they're able to exist separately from their kids, which is not a case a lot. Especially, like, I would say
Isaac's
Ava.
mom.
Yeah. Isaac's mom.
Lily.
Isaac's mom and Ava are basically, like, the only 2 moms, I think, on the show who, like, really exist independently.
What's Isaac's last name again?
Morton. Dr. Morton.
That's it.
Yeah. I can't remember her first name. I think she has one. I could be wrong.
She probably does.
Just in general, she probably was.
She probably does.
At birth, they probably gave her a name.
I liked it when
Doctor.
You said,
maybe her name is Doctor.
I liked it when you said parents exist outside their children. It's funny because they existed before their children.
But no, but I mean, it's true. Like Anne Jacobs does not exist apart from, like, her family.
No, I know.
Unit.
Neither does Mary.
Exactly, yeah.
It's usually the wives that get the shaft, which is
why I love that Ava is so cool. And we have, like,
David.
we finally, like, at one point, after years and years of being the main family, we finally got an episode that revealed what David even does for a living, and then it's, like, never talked about again.
No, he does, like,
architecture, right?
Yeah. Like, he has, like, all those tools in the shed.
That he doesn't use.
Yeah, but I thought that had to do with his job.
No, that's why he doesn't use them.
Oh. No, I thought, like, he has job tools and then hobby tools, and those are the hobby tools. He doesn't touch those.
No, he has no job tools. He's an architect, Victoria. I mean, I guess he has tools, but
what
not those kinds of tools.
What if we combined David...
Architects don't build the buildings.
...and Red's character?
Well, that would be very different things to combine.
He has the upper half of Red, but the bottom half of
But the face
David.
of a cat and the hands
and he
of
has
a hand dog.
The tail of a centaur.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how you didn't say tail of a horse, but tail of a centaur. So Ava gets to exist outside, which is cool. I wouldn't say the Parkers, plot-wise, have had, like, a huge amount of development on the show. Like, basically the only thing that they've really had changed as a family unit overall, plot-wise, is, like, Lucia came and moved to Odyssey.
Yeah, there's that.
And Camilla became a Christian.
There's Untuck the Halls.
That's not
No, I'm thinking of episodes with like a family together where they all learn a lesson.
Clutter.
I'm not saying like it develops them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count Clutter because that was their first episode altogether, so we didn't have any jumping off point from that. They've done more devotions and stuff as time's gone on.
Yeah, but that's
There's
character
that,
stuff,
like,
not plot stuff.
Sandwich episode.
Like, they haven't, like, had huge, like, oh, we moved jobs or we adopted a kid or
They've gone on missions trips together. Yeah, they haven't done anything.
Yeah, but that's not something that permanently affected, like, the state of their family for every episode thereafter.
Yeah, it's just Lucia.
Yeah. So
remember that one time Olivia moved the entire contents of her room in very significant ways 3 times in 15 minutes? That was sure something, wasn't it?
Yeah. The mattress up and down and up and down, up and down the stairs.
Yeah. And the only thing that got broken was one lamp.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Parkers. Next family.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the Parkers. I guess that's all we need to say about them.
Okay.
They're all right. Because they're the main family, like, right now, I'm like, they have to at least make the top 10 list.
I mean, don't have to.
Well, they don't have to, but I felt more pressure than a family that wasn't a main family, and then they just happened to come up at the end of the list when I had 9 slots where I was like, good. I had 1 open slot, and I'm like, yes, I guess it's the Parkers.
So, next family.
Over, like, the other ones that I hadn't used.
I like some of the wording in this stuff. Unfortunately, Devin forgot one of the characters' names, so you just put, and the other one. Unfortunately, he fixed it.
Yes.
So.
Well, I was doing it on the bus, and I knew I could change a lot easier later when I had internet access than it would be to look it up on my phone.
Alright, so the Mulligans, which include Mike, Tracy, Lisa, Nick, Jessica, Janelle, Hector, Tony, and Brianna, and all of them animals. The Mulligans come into the scene with the closing of the Connellsville Zoo as they decide as they decide to adopt a zoo on their expansive farm between Odenton and Odyssey, having taken a vow to say yes when God asks after their grandfather passed away. The family decides
from lung cancer.
The family decides to take in Lisa's cousin Nick, who's living in the city.
Big city.
Where he smokes.
Yeah.
Like a tough kid.
From Boston, I guess, or New York.
As they just start to adjust to these new relationships, they also take on twins Jessica and Janelle, whose mother's terribly ill and unable to look after them. Lisa goes to school in Odyssey, and Nick gets a job at Wits End through most of the Novacom saga, allowing them to interact with our main characters as they continue to develop their relationships with each other and their animal companions. They go further still to take in Hector, a young boy from Colombia, and are finally seen taking in Tony and Brianna.
Thank you.
The homeless siblings from Oswald Heights who squatted in the building, which would later become Wits End Connellsville. Devin forgot to fill in Brianna's name at the end of the description.
Normally, properly, what I should do and what I normally do when I forget something is I bold my place filler so it is very visible so you don't forget to fill it in. That's what both for school papers and for Oddcast stuff.
Don't worry about forgetting Brianna's name. I totally forgot that Hector existed. So I couldn't remember Jessica and Janelle's names. Or Tony and Brianna's. So you're doing like so much better than me.
Mm-hmm. So the Mulligans probably have the most like purely plot related family development in the shortest amount of time. I would imagine.
Whenever they appear, it's basically always as a family. If it's not as a family, then it's either just Nick or Lisa. Sometimes it's just Mike, but that's usually only a name. Yeah.
We have like a couple episodes where Lisa is standalone, like in 33, 34 kind of stuff, like when she's hanging out with Aubrey in Blind Girl's Bluff and the Treasure Room and stuff.
Always voice changing Aubrey every couple episodes, flip-flopping back and forth. It's still distracting.
Well, only if you listen to them in the wrong order.
I guess that's true.
And then Nick gets a lot of solo time during the Novacom saga because he kind of gets pulled into like the Eric Colburn kind of stuff once he starts working at Wits End.
Want to do something fun? We should say
right
who
now?
our favorite member in the family is for each family.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay.
Parker's
Ava.
Ava. Matthew can get annoying sometimes.
I'm gonna have to say Nick.
Nick.
And Mulligan.
Yeah. I'm sorry. If it were for Nick, it'd be Lisa. But Nick is one.
So funny.
Nick is the best character. He gets the most like character development out of all these characters.
I would say so because his like second episode is like, "Don't worry, guys. Not only am I sexist, I'm also racist."
Wait, when was that?
Viva la Différence. The whole episode about like him like learning to like live.
But when was he being racist
with women, and then the twins show up at the end.
Oh right. Oh yeah.
And then Lisa's like, "Don't worry, he's just learning to respect other people's differences and stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sees that they're girls, and they're like, "What? Is it because we're girls?" And he's like, no." And they're like, "Is it because we're black?" And he's like, The episode.
Oh, Nicholas. Yeah, he came a long way over the course of the show.
And also, I really like that one episode with him and my brain.
His friend.
No, I actually don't really care for that one that much, but I think it has a good moral. I know his name. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing.
Alex Jefferson.
No, he's friends with Alex though. He's one of the kids. The one where he stopped smoking.
With Nathaniel.
Nathaniel, yeah. I remembered it just.
Yeah. Where there's smoke.
I like that one. I think that's like a good character progression one for Nick. It's like never talked about.
It's one of the better half episodes, that's for sure.
It is.
For a half episode.
And usually like when you get episodes or like just stories in general from anything that are about role models, it's usually like, hey, don't look up to this person as a role model. This one is like, there are people who look up to you as a role model, so try and like...
So fix your life.
Try and better yourself in lots of ways so that you actually deserve it a bit more. And I like that lesson.
Yeah. Same thing with Connie, I guess, kind of in her, like, in Connie Comes to Town.
Yeah. I just really like the Mulligans. They're, like, a lot of fun. Now I want to re-listen to
They always
all the
appear as a
Mulligan
unit,
episodes.
and they basically pick up almost, like, one family member per episode in which they appear. And they become, like you said, like a whole menagerie such that you can't even remember how many people are in their family by the end of it all. Cause they
I'd say the most forgettable member of the family is probably Hector.
He only has one episode.
Yeah, and I also forgot he existed, which is why I'm saying that.
And Tony and Brianna literally, like, get dropped off.
Yeah,
that's
you don't even, like, see
that's
them
like
with them.
the last
but, like,
episode.
Tony and Brianna are really memorable and of
it's
themselves.
Basically...
So...
Well, yeah, but I think I will sometimes forget that they ended up with the Mulligans because it was an episode about them, and it's like, I know where to bring you. We have one scene with Mike, and then that's it. And that's basically the end of... That's basically a series wrap on the Mulligans, apart from, like, Nick and Lisa occasionally, and a little bit of stuff in Novacom about the Nova boxes
Did
their
Nick
neighbor.
ever become a Christian?
Only in Clubhouse Magazine.
Okay, that's what I thought. Same thing with... So Nick, and also...
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
So... And also, Wooten has a dog.
Yes.
Those are the only important things about Clubhouse.
Only Magazine. Nick and Lawrence and Wooten's dog became Christians in Clubhouse. All dogs go to heaven, of course.
There's actually a song in that movie that I listen to a lot, and I really like it. I haven't even seen that movie all the way through.
So yeah, Mulligans, they're good. They're good folks. I was admired. Like, they're very similar to the Shepards, the way that they're just like, God wants us to do it.
I get some things that happen to them confused with the Shepards sometimes, just because they're...
That's reasonable.
they're really similar in my mind.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Even though there's like a ton of these guys, and the Shepards only have Aubrey
And Bethany.
and Beth. Oh no! Oh no!
Speaking of,
oh,
don't worry, Victoria.
Okay, I'm
this
so
isn't as
tired
bad. This isn't
week.
as bad as like 30 episodes ago where you said all 4 of their names incorrectly. You were like
Wait.
Bob and Eileen and Audrey and something else, and you also said their last name wrong. Like, you literally, there's 5 names total in their family. You said all of them incorrectly, and I was like,
Are you sure?
yes.
I wasn't doing that on purpose.
No, because I ribbed you for it, and you were very embarrassed about it.
I don't remember that. I must have repressed it.
It was very funny and shocking.
To be fair, Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out in 13 days. I'm so distracted and tired, and I'm not feeling good today. So
You said-
I feel like I should
you definitely said Audrey.
an off the hook card.
I think
I
you
accidentally say Audrey and Aubrey
Yeah.
a lot.
That is fair. I do that in general,
So-
but you said that. You said, I think, Anne instead of Ellen.
That sounds right.
I don't remember what you said for Ben, and I think you got Bethany wrong as well.
And
then you're like-
I said Bob.
I know, I was just saying for example.
Okay.
And then you
No, but
also
isn't-
like couldn't
isn't there a
remember their
mom
last
named
name or
Anne?
something. Yeah, Anne Jacobs.
Yeah. That's where I got it from.
Yeah. So number 8 is the Shepherds.
So I wasn't wrong. She has as much to do as Anne.
She has more to do than Anne. Anne appears in probably like 2 episodes.
Oh, I mean, I meant like she doesn't appear apart from her family in the same way Anne doesn't appear apart from
Well,
her
yeah,
family.
but Anne basically doesn't appear at all. Ellen still does stuff.
You know what? Yeah, but I meant the other thing.
I know what
just
you mean.
said.
Shepherds, we got Ben, we got Ellen, we got Aubrey, we got Bethany. They're first introduced as part of the Timothy Center. They're like maybe the 1.5 main family on the show. They're like kind of the main family, I think you could say, for like the period between the first hiatus and Novacom, like the end of Novacom, which is when the Washingtons come
I
in.
consider them to be a main family.
I always think about
honestly.
like Barclays, the Washingtons, the Parkers, but I thought because
I feel like
that leaves a
they're-
big gap.
Yeah, I feel like they're an honorary.
And I
main
tried to
family.
think who would fill in that gap.
'Cause when you
and I was like,
said-
I guess the Shepherds make the most sense.
Because when you said at the beginning of this episode that the Parkers were the third main family, I was
Yeah.
just like, that doesn't sound right. I feel like there's 4.
That's the way I've always thought about it. I was thinking about the Washingtons as the second one, but when I was thinking like who would fill that gap, is there anyone who fills in there? Because that whole period in the show is filled with a lot of kid characters who like the first half of that period was like a bunch of kid characters who almost completely disappeared for
These
the second
guys
half of that.
lasted like a really long time, though.
Well, they lasted
I'd say
through that
a long
whole period.
time in comparison to a lot of other families, and on top of that,
Yes.
all of them were important, and
Yeah.
they appeared as a family a
Yeah.
lot.
They lasted for a pretty decent period, and then not for a long time, and then always.
They lasted
I guess-
almost as long as the Timothy
I guess
Center.
Aubrey. Well, they lasted precisely as long as the Timothy. Well,
no, they didn't last
that's
until 50.
that's true, and also Legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 1.5 main family on the show, bridging between the Barclays and the Washingtons. Formerly a fairly well-to-do family, Ben and Ellen convert and decide to uproot their lives to live in a cabin on Tom's farm. Aubrey is substantially less enthused about the idea and about any spirituality in general. Bethany doesn't mind the increased horse exposure. Struggles as
That's such a good description for her.
Struggles as a family primarily revolve around Aubrey and her rebellion against her parents' faith and the change in lifestyle that they chose, and how she struggles both with the religious aspects of her peers and dealing with the poverty with which they're now dealing.
Man, that show's so good.
More generally, the Shepard stories focus on their finances and God getting them through the tough times at the Timothy Center. And this helps kick off the Novacom saga when Tom leases land to Novacom for the broadcast tower. And then also Aubrey's coming to faith plays an important role in the early endgame of the Novacom saga because of her relationship with Erica Colburn, and then that leads to the theft of the Imagination Station, which allows for the development of the Nova Box. And then at that point, that basically concluded the stories for this family. Once Aubrey became a Christian, she had like, out of all the characters who have like come to Jesus on the show, she definitely has one of like the longer and better developed arcs of like
I agree
developing
with
her
that.
faith.
She,
Not the long, like there are
she
certainly
appears a
other
bit
ones that are longer, and she has a
afterwards.
couple episodes. She's in album 43, and then she goes to college in album 45.
The last episode we get for the entire family is always in 45.
Yeah, which
Which
Victoria
is-
used to listen to, sadly, after I first left for UBC, right?
No, it took me, I think it was like about
Oh,
a
yeah, you
year
didn't
or
listen to
something
it.
like
Yeah,
that
that's what it
before I
was.
could listen to it because I was sad. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm never going to see Devin again. I was right.
And now
You're a clone.
Now you can't get rid of me. But then I was died and replaced by Avril Lavigne lookalike in 2006.
I was hoping you'd say Beyonce. Beyonce!
But there's no theories about Beyonce being replaced,
Yeah, I
are
know,
there?
but you could have yelled Beyonce.
I could have, but that wouldn't make sense.
But
And we always make sense on this show. Okay,
Aubrey's the best one.
I really like the Shepards. I feel like
They are great.
I feel like they're underappreciated. I also feel like whenever we talk about things being under or overappreciated on the show, it's based purely on absolutely nothing because we have basically no interaction with the fandom anymore outside of this podcast that we make and the echo chamber we've created.
I still maintain that they're underappreciated.
I agree with you,
But
Victoria.
when we say underappreciated, it means we
don't
don't
appreciate
talk about them enough.
Exactly. Honestly, Aubrey's whole arc is so good. Like, she has such a good slow burn of coming to faith, starting with, like, you know, her first episode, she runs away from home, hitchhikes with Whit to Whit's End. We have her exposure to the Blackguard virus in Blackguard's Revenge. We have her meeting John the Baptist and, like, learning the ways that people sacrifice for their
Timmy's
faith.
cabin wouldn't exist if it weren't for the Shepards. Like, in the way it does now. Because, like, Ben helped fix it.
Before. Oh, yeah. That is correct. We got, Smile at the Happy Smilers episode, which
Happy Smilers is such a good episode.
I
Oh
really-
my gosh.
I really like that, especially because have you seen that post about, like, the guy who invented the smiley face?
I think I did.
You've seen that picture, and he's, like, this guy sitting at a desk, and he looks, like, so, like, old, and, like, he's, like, his face is, like, all droopy, and, like, just, like, straight-faced, or just, like, not depressed necessarily, but just, like, dead to the world, and he's just surrounded by giant pictures of smiley faces, and people make jokes about it. Whenever I see that, I'm like, I wonder if that actually was, like, this photo, or this guy was the inspiration for this episode, because that would make a lot of sense to me.
That would make a lot of sense.
Um,
Happy Smilers is, like, such a good episode.
It's great because you don't think that he's gonna, like, die, and Aubrey has to deal with, like, the death of this old man that she became friends with, and it becomes surprisingly heavy
Yeah.
for an episode in general, not just an episode that's about, like, happy.
And, like, it's such a silly name, but it's such, like, a deep episode, and I feel like that really works for it, because,
it's-
like, that's the entire
point of it, yeah.
thing that's going on.
It's really good, and then, of course, we roll into Novacom Saga, and we get, like, increasing struggles between Aubrey, especially when Erica comes into town, and then we get Under the Influence, which is one of my favorite episodes in the entire Novacom saga, even though it's one of the ones that has the least to do with, like, Novacom itself. I really love Under the Influence. And then we have sort of, like, the short post arc as Aubrey's kind of figuring out what this new stuff means for her life and how that affects her with Erica with regards to the stuff that happened before she became a Christian, a couple episodes before, and then that becomes really important stuff for Novacom.
One of the
And then
best scenes in
we have a
Novacom
relationship with
is
Seth,
when...
too, like,
Yeah.
Seth after that, and we get some really good stuff out of that, like the lesson, the moral of all things to
And
all
Nick.
people. I love so much.
Nick
Stuff
again.
with Nick, yeah.
Yay. One of the best scenes, in my opinion, in the Novacom saga, which wasn't on our list of scenes, is the one where Erica and Aubrey get locked in Whit's End in, I think, the library.
Yes.
And, like, oh, that's good. Devin, we need to do that thing we were talking about with Novacom.
I just want to talk about Novacom. Can we just do, like...
forget. This isn't about families anymore. Now we're talking about Novacom.
Can we just do, like, a 10-hour episode where we just talk about Novacom?
We need to do that Novacom thing. We can talk about it
I know.
once we're done recording this.
Um,
We have, to anyone who's ever wondered, we do have plans to go over Novacom, but we might be going over it in kind of an unconventional way.
I want to like, I want to dive deep into it for like the full billion years that would take us.
See,
I haven't listened to it in like several years.
I haven't either. It would take us
Probably
a long time.
Probably been like 2015.
I have a plan to get through it. We might go through it twice, depending on how we...
Like a really short form and then a full form.
Like a short Novacom thing and then a really long form Novacom
Which I've thought about, like that general concept in general, because I'm like, it feels dumb that we haven't really talked about Novacom very much before because it's like Novacom.
Once.
Same thing with the Blackguard saga. We barely talked about it before, but it's because I know we'd want to like go through it in depth, and that would take us so many episodes.
Yeah. The short form thing, though, I think
we've talked about Novacom like only in episodes which are like tangentially like top 10 Novacom scenes. We've talked about Blackguard in general. We've done the Blackguard book reviews, which have kind of allowed us to talk about Blackguard.
Man, when's the next Blackguard book going to come out? I missed those.
I don't know. I was thinking about that a couple weeks ago.
I missed that.
Also, the Young Wit book that was announced. I don't know if I was like, it may have come out. Facebook doesn't show me the post on the Adventures in Odyssey page.
Do you want me to check if the next Blackguard book is out?
I should probably check. You can check if you want.
I can check.
Next family. Right? We're already 30 minutes into this episode.
Next family is the Bassetts. Ooh, I wonder which one's gonna be my favorite. I wonder. Honestly, a part of me wants to say Wooten. You know what?
You're free to do so.
You know what? It's a tie.
You live alone.
It's a tie. They're twins. I can do that. It's a
they
tie
have the same DNA.
Yeah, I can do that.
If we're basing our favorites on their genetic code in a very eugenics kind of way, then it has to be a tie.
So we got the Bassetts because I insisted they had to be on the list, and when Devin first started making this list, they weren't on it.
Because I forgot, not because I didn't think they deserved a spot.
So Wooten, Penny, Wellington, Talia.
Talia.
Oh, I think you said Tilla or whatever.
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton, Talia, Winston, Hadley, because he is Wooten's dad. No, wait, not Hadley.
He's his cousin. Winston is his father.
No.
Hadley's his cousin, and
you didn't
ties
put you didn't put what's his face on the list. I told you to.
Oh, I forgot Bradford. Yeah.
I forgot Bradford.
Yeah. Well, we were talking. I wasn't on my computer when we were talking about it. Well, I just said his name.
For some reason, I
Bradford's
thought Hadley was Bradford because I'm so tired today and I feel like garbage. I never feel good when we record the Oddcast.
I'm aware. I have noticed that, Victoria. It's the reason we don't record half the time. Half the other half time is school.
I'm so sickly all the time.
Anyways.
Okay. Ignore the past 5 minutes. Bassett's, Wooten, Penny, Wellington, Talia, Winston, Hadley, Bradford, Wooten's grandpa, which I don't remember.
I don't think they gave him a name.
I feel like he does. I don't know.
I don't think they did.
Wilma, Frank Wise, Eleanor Wise, and Charlotte. So, when I got really confused when I saw Charlotte for a second, I was going to say, what?
I know.
She's not supposed to be there.
Surprise, Victoria. Plot twist. Charlotte is actually Wooten's cousin. Well, that would be so efficient. It's just like the Meltsners and the Waltons.
It would.
I didn't put. I think I put Bernard on the Meltsners thing, but I didn't put the rest. I didn't put Borealis P. Walton on the Meltsner family.
He's not.
He does
Eugene's
not deserve.
Family.
He does not deserve.
He is not Eugene's family. When Wooten first showed up, a lot of emphasis was put on his mysterious family past. He made a lot of vague comments without ever elaborating on them. We finally learned in album 40, first, that Wooten has an identical twin to is an identical twin to a starchy businessman. How dare you? He is a root beer loving, beautiful human.
We didn't learn that in album 40.
I know.
We did learn he used to have water balloon fights. I'll give you that. But
then soon after that, he's a fun-loving, precocious man.
A fun-loving, precocious 35-year-old.
Then soon after that, Wooten had an entire enormous family of incredibly wealthy, greedy business people. save for his kindly grandfather, and that his own father had disowned him for his simple and generous lifestyle. We continued to see infrequent and reluctant interactions of his family reaching out to Wooten, always cold. Finally, Penny enters the scene in the GRC, and affections spring immediately. Their relationship develops quite quickly, with marriage proposal in Album 58 and wedding by 61. Though that transaction period... I am illiterate. Through that transaction period, Wellington returns...
Did you say transaction again?
Yes. Through that transition period.
Yeah, they don't... I feel like we always forget about the fact that Wooten paid Penny to marry him.
Wellington only appears if it's a transaction period. How dare you? I know him well enough to know that. Wellington returns and grows a much stronger and more affectionate bond with his brother. He calls him his brother.
Because he is.
They're brothers.
They're just two brothers. It's just two brothers.
I love them. Who's your favorite?
I mean, yeah, Wooten. It's Wooten.
It's like Wooten and Wellington, Penny, Bradford, Talia, tied with Wooten's grandpa. So, I kind of argued to put Grady and Sam on the list if you were...
Yeah, but I was like, no.
As honorable mentions. You didn't even mention them in the description, although I guess that didn't involve anyone else.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
It involved his dad.
Barely. It would be better to, like, put Victoria Jameson in there.
No.
Because that involved his dad. His dad was like, this is your final chance.
So we've read 2, right?
Yeah.
Cross-check. Ooh! Richard! April 9th.
Oh, okay, good. So it hasn't come out yet.
It hasn't come out yet.
I thought that said 2018. I was like, ooh.
I did too for a second.
I'm writing that down right now.
April 9th.
My first thing for April.
I don't know if the Goodreads date is
because I forgot to put Endgame on here.
The actual date, though.
Placard, book 3.
I don't know if the Goodreads date is going to be, like, the date we actually...
Yeah, who knows. Well, they always put, like, the whole thing on the AIOC, which I don't know if we've missed or not yet.
Yeah.
Probably not if it's coming out in April.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Well, now everyone else knows when it comes out, so go get a copy of it.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Wellington so much. He's so good.
This is a good one for this list because, like I was saying, basically one of the main parts of the gimmick of Wooten's character when he first showed up was like, ooh, his family, so mysterious.
He had 2 gimmicks. 1, you didn't know what he looked like. 2, he had a mysterious family.
Yeah. He's always like, I didn't have many toys growing up because, just because. Baka. Yeah, and he kind of maintains this. I guess not for that long, really.
No, only
and
until...
then for 4 albums.
Wellington.
Yeah, and then album 40 both introduces Bradford and Talia and Wellington, and then half the season later, Bassett Hounds happens, which was just brought up in an episode in Out to Sea. Yeah. Right after I wrote this, then Wooten was talking about Bassett Hounds, and I was like, oh,
wait, brief spoilers for our Out to Sea review. You said a character shows up in it who hasn't been in it for a long time, and I thought, if it's Wellington, I'm gonna die.
I wasn't talking about Wellington.
And then Bassett Hounds was mentioned, and I was like, I will take it.
Yeah. Not what I meant.
But... I got really happy, though. I was just like, it's Wellington.
Yeah.
Wellington is all that matters to me in this show anymore.
So Wooten kind of, like, in terms of the way that we see the Bassett family on the show, we kind of went from, like, Wooten is a mysterious island. He is Jules Verne's The Mysterious Island, to we see Wooten interact with family, but just barely, and it's always very reticent, and they basically all hate him, to it is Wooten and Penny now is the family that we are seeing, and then, like, Wellington kind of rejoins the fray, and then now we also have, like, Penny's side of the family too, And yes, I did have to look up what Charlotte's name was, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
She's also Charlotte.
I wonder if Winston, if he had known about, like, the Nova boxes and how successful Novacom was doing, if he would have tried to, like, either get a piece of that or send someone down or try to get Wooten to...
Interesting idea. We don't really know what Winston or what Wellington do specifically.
There's a what I like to think
they are vague business people.
Wellington is in charge of a water gun factory.
Mm-hmm.
It's where he belongs.
Uh-huh.
With all of his water games and water sports. This is what he deserves. I'm gonna start crying.
Well, this has been the last episode of the Adventures in Odyssey forecast.
Stop calling it that.
You brought this upon yourself. You. Yeah, they're good. It's good stuff.
If you had to rank them, how would you rank them?
Number 7. So, I think that's all there is to say about the Bassets.
Oh, well...
Did you have more?
No. For the next one, I was thinking, who's my favorite character from them? And then I saw what family it was. I was like, well, there's one right answer, and there's one super, super wrong answer.
The right answer is Aunt Helen, because that's right, we're talking about the Kendalls next.
My
number
favorite
6.
character is Connie.
Read. This is your turn to read, right?
No, I just
Oh, sorry, it's mine. You're right. Okay, we got Connie, we got June, we got Bill, and Jules, and Mildred, and Joe Finneman. We have, like, Aunt Helen mentioned, but not heard, but still important enough for me to put on the list. And we have Jan, also important enough to go on the list, even though she's never been heard from. And April.
Jan is Jules'
who is
mom, right?
April is unimportant enough that she is last on the list behind 2 people who've never been heard on the show. Jan is Jules' mother, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, Connie first came onto the scene with her mom and mention of her father back in California, but things were really just focused on her as an individual, except for the fact that, like, she wanted to get back to her father. It was really more about getting back to California than getting back to Bill, because who wants to get back to Bill that badly? Including anyone to whom has ever been here. She doesn't appear in it, no. She's just mentioned.
Okay.
But things were really just, like, focused on Connie, and they remain primarily focused on her in general, obviously. We eventually got to meet her great-uncle Joe and her father and learn his whole deal, which brought many other women into the equation, as well as her Aunt Helen. Bill's mother eventually played a larger role. She sparked the mortal coil even before she showed up. Really, Mildred was responsible for Father's Day in album 14. She was responsible for the mortal coil, and then she's responsible for a touch of healing.
Mildred is the reason Eugene became a Christian.
Well, I mean,
she isn't.
There was a number of
I know she isn't, but I wanted to say it. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people probably forget that Mildred is the reason that, like, the mortal coil happened.
I don't.
So it's always been interesting to me how, like, Connie's grandmother being sick, mentioned in album 14, was, like, a thing that was actually carried through 2 albums later, and then carried through again another 8 albums later.
Yeah, I always associate Touch of Healing and Where's They Sting with the mortal coil.
Which makes sense. I mean, they're both episodes about the nature of death and stuff.
And, like, weird stuff going on with the imagination.
That's true, yeah. Hey, hey, kids, you know it's a fun adventure today? I wanted that Imagination Station book. Is that the next book in the series where they do the death program?
No, I don't want that. I
don't feel so good, Mr. Whittaker.
Jesus, like, well, I know it killed my dad, basically, but, like, what if I made a kid fly? And Jack's like, I'm going into retirement. I can't handle this.
It's like prescription medication commercials. Like, the Imagination Station. You will fly. Mild side effects may cause dying and going to hell. And then the Kendall family development slowed for a very long time until June's death. And then Bill returns with surprise guest Jules, who is now sticking around and building her relationship with her half-sister.
Who got in the show, but,
Yeah. And now we're having like an extended period of Kendall family development, really for the first time ever in the history of the show, because we have Jules and Connie living together, and we're seeing them like at least once a season developing their relationship as sisters.
There's some stuff with like
and
June
I love it.
gradually becoming like
a
Christian that spanned a little bit,
or kind of like, you know, climbing the hill or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm, like. There was family development stuff both in plot and character, but it's pretty spread out. This is the only period where we've had like concise, regularly scheduled like family development stuff for the Kendalls.
I kind of feel bad for Bill. In some ways.
Do you though?
Yeah.
But do you?
Yeah, he's bad.
Yes.
But I feel bad for him. Like, I listened to Where's Thy Sting, and I feel really bad for him.
I know, but also all of it is his fault.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he is in a terrible situation, and it's sad what he's going through, to be sure.
Like, when he comes in drunk, and it
makes
me sad.
I know, it's a very sad scene. But it's not sad because it's like, oh, poor victim Bill. It's sad because it's like, Bill, look how you've destroyed your life.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know who the next family is.
Well, I would hope so from that. Yeah, I adore all the stuff that we have right now with Connie and Jules. It's great, and I love the way that we get simultaneous parallels between like Buck and Eugene and Connie and Jules, and it's so great. I'm so excited every time we get to see. I love Jules as a character.
She's really good.
Yeah. At first, they tried to make her like kind of like a stereotypy thing, and like when she first showed up in Life Expectancy, not super overly so. But we've got to see her like flesh out more and more with time, and see her starting to develop and stuff as a person, like, and in her relationship with the other people in Odyssey. And
she's like what happens when you take a character that kind of starts off as a bit of a stereotype, but then like you give them a whole bunch of depth, and it's just like, no, they're not just a stereotype. They also have this and this and this, and I love it when
she's an iceberg.
I love it when there are characters like that. I love iceberg stereotype characters.
Okay, number 5.
The Washingtons.
Last chance to negotiate.
My favorite is...
Okay, read the family list first.
Okay. Second main family, Ed, Elaine, Antoine, Xavier, Marvin, Tamika, and Kelly.
I almost forgot about Kelly. I'll be honest.
How dare you?
I know. When I was writing out the stuff that happens to their family, I was like, oh, dang.
I think I'm actually gonna say Xavier's my favorite. I really like Mystery at Tin Flat.
I'm gonna say Kelly.
That's fair. If I hadn't said Xavier, I might have said either Marvin or Kelly, probably. So, the second main family, incredibly supportive family dynamic, extended family dynamic with Xavier living there and Antoine away at college. Development mainly tied to Wits End Connellsville as an extension of Novacom.
We're starting, as we're moving earlier in my writing process, we're getting into more and more bullet pointy stuff now.
An extension of Novacom involving moving around town to help Ed with his job. So Ed has to balance his role as a father of 2 kids and a father of everyone in Oswald Heights. And there's a lot of stuff surrounding like them supporting Xavier and Xavier's relationship with his mom, who's Ed's sister. And then Kelly comes into the equation, and she has her entire arc of adoption into the family and being incorporated into that, and also becoming a Christian.
Yeah. And then she deletes Connie's book.
Oh, I forgot him.
Yeah.
That's like in Little Women, there's like a bit when one of the sisters is writing a book, and it's like before computers and stuff, and like it's all written on like a giant stack of papers.
It's chiseled into stone.
And then and that character goes to, like, the theater or whatever, and, like, goes see
and
something.
she gets shot in the back of the head.
No, she, like...
6 sunburnt around.
She doesn't take her little sister, and her little sister gets mad, and she throws her entire book into the fire. And the second I read that, I updated my laptop immediately. Out of anxiety. I was so stressed out. I hated that. It also made me think of, like, Kelly and Connie. Connie should have had her computer backed up.
She should have. Really, it's her fault for not using the cloud or any sort of, like, having a backup disk.
You know what you do? Even if you have it backed up, you email it to yourself.
Actually...
So it's, like, floating in space, and it can always be accessed.
In fairness, if I recall correctly, she did have backups of it, and Eugene tried to, like, go through her backups. He went through, like, the recovery process and stuff like that, document recovery, and he's like, Kelly thoroughly deleted it. Like, she didn't just delete a file. Like, she knew enough about computers to completely erase any trace of it from all the places you'd stored it.
She's Wade from Kim Possible.
She's in.
Hurry up, Connie. You gotta get to the bus.
Your mom's leaving in 10 seconds.
You're gonna be late for work.
And then, spoiler alert, she is late for work because she's Connie.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was late for work. Remember that part where she first meets Richard, and he has green skin, and he can, like, he has green fire in his hands, and his name is Richko. Aren't I funny? Funny joke!
The Washingtons are great. They, like I said, their family is definitely one of the most, like, internally, emotionally supportive families on the show. There's a huge focus on, like, the stuff that they do together, the ways that they try and build each other up and stuff. Initially, you know, they start out with, like, the focus on Ed's job and Whittaker and Connellsville and stuff, and then we get the stuff about Xavier and, like, is he going to go back with his mom? They don't want him to leave. He's trying to figure that out in, like, Tin Flat and stuff like that. And then we come back to Ed's job, and it's, like, work-life balance. We need to be closer. We don't want to move away from Odyssey. So then we get, you know, something needs to change, which then becomes No Way In, No Way Out.
I like to think honorary members of the Washington family are just the Rathbones, because they won't leave them alone.
Well, I was talking about...
Hey, neighbors! Neighbors of everyone.
Hey, kids. Yeah. Sycamore Street's popular, Victoria.
See you later, kid. Of course you will.
I'm your neighbor. Oh, that was so funny. I never appreciated
Marvin
that
is
scene
such,
before.
Like, a sassy boy, and I love him.
Marvin is very funny. I love that they're both, like, such musically talented kids. Between the two of them, they're like the Barclays. We get to see, like, a lot of the development of, like, the progression of age as they go on. We get to see, like, Tamika figuring out how her relationship with her dad changes as she grows up and she becomes, you know, like, how am I gonna, you know, as I become, like, a tween and a teenager, how am I gonna balance my relationship with my friends and my relationship with my parents and stuff as they form a band, as Marvin is learning history, and he kind of has, like, this conflict about, like, the way it's presented in school versus, like, the racial injustice and trying to figure out, like, where he feels like he fits into it and stuff in the American Revolution. We get to see a lot of the changes that the family goes through. Antoine never actually ends up appearing, but, you know, we start out with Xavier.
Like, held out hope that Antoine would appear. I don't know if you did too.
It's weird to me that he never ends up showing up. And then, like, it's weird that he never gets mentioned after, 3 episodes.
That's what I was about to say, that it's weird that he doesn't get mentioned enough, probably, because he's actually their brother. Given
how important family is to them. I didn't figure that
out for such a long time when I was younger, that, like, I thought Xavier was their brother, and Antoine was a cousin, or something like that, for, how much one appeared over the other.
Exactly. which is to say an infinite proportion because you're dividing by 0
appeared
there.
and is mentioned. Like, even after he's gone, Xavier is still mentioned.
Yeah. Antoine basically never gets talked about. It's like, did he ever even meet Kelly? Did he, like, come back to Odyssey one day and he's like, hey, Mom, Dad, everyone, it's great to see you guys. I know I haven't talked to you guys in a decade. I'm married and kids now. Wait, who is this? Because he doesn't know that they adopted Kelly. He's never heard of Kelly before.
And they're like, well, we always wanted a third
It's like
child.
your other sister.
And he's like, what are you talking about? Marvin is the third child.
Yeah.
They're like, what? Who are you?
I always forget that Marvin is younger than Tamika. For some reason, it's like, I don't know. I always thought
Tamika, like, handed down her blanket.
I know. For some reason, I always thought that Marvin was older until, like, Date with Dad and, well, Bringing Up Dads is the episode title.
If I ever thought Marvin was older than Tamika, which I might have for a little bit, it was probably because my brain was like, well, the brother's always older than the sister. That's how it works, right?
Not how it worked in the Barclays either. It's just because of us. Is that why?
Yeah.
It's because I'm older.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I mean, obviously, there's no point in my life when I ever thought that Jimmy was older than Donna. But I mean, there's a lot more obvious their age difference.
Like, Marvin and Tamika are like a...
When
I don't know, they're probably about the same age difference as us.
When I first realized that Tamika was older, I was like, wait, so did they retcon it? And then I finally I thought about it, like, they never say that Marvin's older than Tamika, and it was just completely in my head.
You know, they say to this day that Antoine is still away at college.
They can still hear his voice sometimes.
Do
you remember when Ed showed up like an album ago?
Yeah,
that was wild. I just remembered that.
That was such a good episode.
It was a great episode.
That episode made me cry.
It was very like Lamb's Tale as well.
It was. Xavier.
Also, Marvin is still on the basketball team.
Xavier is back with his mom, and that's why he didn't appear again.
Yeah.
Which is good.
It is weird that Antoine never shows up. He never he never calls. He never writes.
I'm glad that Xavier's mom got well enough that he could. Go.
That is good.
Be with her again. I can't remember what was going on with her, though.
They never say explicitly. I assumed it was something to do with, I mean, it could have been alcohol, could have been gambling. I don't know if it was money or drugs or what, but it was something serious enough that they didn't want to, like, kind of, like, say what it was. Not even just to the audience, but even amongst themselves. It was, it was one of those kind of things where it's like, we're just going to talk around it because we both know what it is, but we don't like to say it aloud because it's, like, clearly a very serious thing that she's dealing with because she had to, like, give you up because of it to, like, kind of get her life together, whether she was in rehab
she was an astronaut
or what. Ultimate plot twist.
In space.
She was.
It's just DuckTales. That's why.
I was gonna say, what if she was like the president, and that's why.
We went in two very different but similar directions.
You know how the president has to like give up their kids when they become the president?
Yeah. Remember when Obama was like, I got these dogs for my daughters, but it's because I can't see them anymore. It's to fill the void because I can't ever see them again.
Goodbye, my kids.
Goodbye, my kids.
Goodbye, our dad.
Goodbye,
our dad, who's also Obama.
No, what's weird?
Oh, the prophecy has been fulfilled.
What are you quoting?
Like the Goodbye, my dad thing, but with Obama's voice.
Oh. Clint
as Obama. Or Obama as Clint.
I should have known.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about how weird the Go family and Kim Possible is? Because I think about it like every day.
Yes, of course I do.
But
back to Kelly. Kelly gets adopted.
Representation for the genders of he, she, we, and
narcissists.
And me.
All of the gender. We have boys, we have girls, we have identical twins, and we have narcissists. I know, that is how I think about it, and it is funny.
So, I was thinking about, like, is their last name Go? Because they call them the Go family. So, does that mean
I don't think that's their last name.
Shigo?
That would be funny if that is her legal name.
Like, but there's no space. Is her name Shigo Go? It's like Run, Jane, Run, but it's like she go, he go, me go. We go.
Their parents were not great with English and creativity. They were basically like the twins naming question on the Bim Bam. Jam? Is that a name that kids have?
I always thought as a kid
Apple and Pear Smith.
Their parents were exiled from the show because they named their kid so poorly.
Because they had twins, and they're like, well, they just get one name, right? That's how it works. We only came up with one name, so I guess they have to share.
Or they killed their parents for naming them so poorly.
Yeah. It's like the bit about like the kid with the room with the thing that says all the names say the
that
thing.
That was such a funny joke. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just heard that bit the other day.
What are you talking about?
Building the baby room where all of the items say their name and then the kid goes crazy because like all the thing like everything's talking to it all the time. I'll play it for you.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard that bit.
Okay. I'd heard it before, and then I just heard it in context the other day. The Washingtons, they're great. I love Kelly. It's a great stuff.
They're great. Xavier doesn't get enough love.
Number 4, the Rathbone.
We've done Mystery at Tin Flat Review, haven't we?
No.
Are you sure? I feel like we have.
I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. We have reviewed a lot of episodes.
I was like, sure
we have reviewed, I think, almost 200 episodes of the show, which is...
It's pretty good.
It's a lot. It's almost a quarter.
Yeah.
Which is wild when you think about it. But also means it would take us, like, over another 15 years to get through all the episodes at the rate we're going. Which is a long time. Number 4 is the Rathbones. Definitely the smallest family list on this. We just Bart and Doris and Rodney.
But like, I love them all so
They make
much.
Up enough.
Honestly, I'm not choosing favorites between them. They're all my favorite. I love them so much.
That's fair. Yeah, one of the most enjoyable families to see interact. I put them so high on this list purely based on the metric of like, how much do you enjoy? Like, if you find out an episode is about this family, how excited are you going to get? And Rathbones ranks pretty high on that list. We first saw them as a family with like the building.
Wait, there's a video with Buck's voice actor on a channel called AIO Update, and it's a Q&A about will Buck and Jules get together.
Yes, I think I've seen that in like the sidebar before off of our episodes.
That's funny.
Started with like building the electric palace and then working together on schemes in general, and then through like Darkness Before Dawn stuff and Bart and Rodney both going to jail, getting incarcerated, and then their release, multiple campaigns for mayorship, scheming against Tom, losing their home and business to the Tornado, capital T, their trip to Hawaii, obviously this is not all in order, learning how Bart and Doris met, the relationship with the Washingtons and the Strasburgs.
I just realized that the millennial / Gen Z AIO OTP in the fandom is probably Buck and Jules.
P-Jill. Yeah, I know it is.
They're like, no, they're the new Connie and Mitch.
Well...
No, to the fandom.
No, I know. I'm just trying to think. Would it be Connie Mitch? I don't know.
Why are you guys all sleeping on P-Jill? What's wrong with you?
Why is no one talking about this?
Why is no one talking about this righteous ship? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Number
that is
one
actually
on the
number
list.
1, yeah, is
P-Jill.
Because they are married in our hearts and in reality in canon. It's true. It's real, you guys. If you read my 10K word WordPress article that I wrote about how it's actually canon if you read between the lines. And then you read between the lines.
If you go
and then you take every 12th letter and read it backwards.
And you read that between the lines. If you go on my...
You read that you do the secret AIO ARG, and then you find all the clues.
This is like Gravity
7.
Falls. 7! If you go to my Archive of Our Own account, you'll find an Odyssey AU, where it's a slow burn P-Jill fact.
And by fic. AU, you mean...
I wrote AU because it's slow burn. In reality, we know it was love at first sight, and they knew that's why it's an AU. I wanted to see what would happen if we needed to drag it out.
AU as in gold, as in the gold standard canon, which is true and correct, and against which other all true things are measured.
Their time traveling daughter.
Yeah.
Whatever her name, Macy.
Yeah, which we'll be talking about next episode because it'll be their.
Oh, I thought you were going to say next on this list.
Yeah.
And then you're going to scroll up and it was going to say Macy.
Yeah. So that's everything we have to say about the Rathbones. No. Yeah. The Rathbones are relative. I mean, we see a lot of Rodney by himself. We see a lot of Bart by himself. Obviously, Doris doesn't really appear apart from her family.
It's because she's one of those women who's always locked inside.
You're one of those chauvinist types who loves women inside, like never lets them outside. You know, kind of like you, Bart.
Oh, that line. Every time I hear it, I'm like, that's terrible, but it's so funny. I don't know how to take it. They're so problematic, but they're so wonderful.
Oh, the Rathbones.
Rathbones! I love them.
5553122. My favorite thing about Odyssey Sings is the fact that if you listen to the full version of the Electric Palace Doodah, it's actually 2 different phone numbers.
Oh my gosh.
He says like 3122 and then 3122 in the 2 different verses, and I don't think it was on purpose.
Wait, I thought you said the same number. What?
No, it's like 3122 and then 3112, I think is the other one.
Yeah,
3122 is definitely one of them, but the other one he says like the same numbers, but he like puts the double on the other number.
I love them so much.
Yeah.
We talked about in one of our previous videos, which maybe it was Tornado, I can't remember, or maybe it was the other woman. About
we talked a lot about the Rathbones in both of those episodes and their development and
all the development they go over as a family and how good it is.
We did that in both of those episodes.
Yeah. So we're probably
I
not
imagine
going
we
to
also
get
talked
as
about it
in depth on that here. So if you want more of that, go listen to those.
Obviously the Rathbones they're fairly static characters. Like we don't see them really change a lot episode over episode. They
have like such emotional moments though, and when they
do have shockingly emotional moments.
They sneak up on you and they punch you in the face because you're just not prepared. Like
they have moments,
end of Tornado.
They have a number of
the biggest one.
Moments that are emotional just by the general standard of any family, let alone that it's happening to the Rathbones. Tornado is probably the biggest one, and the other woman is definitely up there.
Mandy.
You know, obviously, Prequels of Love is excellent. And
I'd say
Aloha
Prequels
Oi.
of Love, though, is probably more like a comedic.
Aloha Oi, which is weird because I was talking about like the relationship with the Washingtons and the Strasburgs, but also the relationships with the Barclays and Aloha Oi, which also will tie into next episode.
All the main families, they have
not
like,
the Parkers, but
yeah,
yeah,
but that's
or the Shepards
not around anymore.
The Barclays or the Rathbones are great.
They're so good.
So good.
I miss them. Good. I'm sad because I feel like we probably won't ever get Rodney again. We definitely won't ever get Doris again. I can be sure of that.
Yes.
We won't get Bart again because we know that they tried to do that and it did not work. So they're not going to do it again. Honestly, the only one who I'd say it's possible to get back is Rodney.
Yeah,
I feel like,
which I was going to say, like, that's not ever going to happen. But you know what happened last season or whenever?
We got
Ed came back. And, like, last year, Marvin. So, that's convenient.
But I feel like we wouldn't get Rodney back because...
we already have his niche is fulfilled.
We have his 2 characters that he was split off into with Jay and Vance. So,
when was the last time Vance showed up? It's been a while.
It's been a while, thankfully.
Like
but unfortunately, Jay's gotten a lot worse. So I feel like Vance doesn't really need to show up at the moment.
He's recombining. Like Jekyll and Hyde. He's
I don't like
refusing. Remerging.
Even at his worst, and I will admit, Rodney did some, like, horrendous things. Like, he's almost killed some people.
Yes.
Legitimately. Like, and not just, like, Novacom stuff.
And he
like,
did go to jail twice, so...
He's almost gotten, like, Isaac killed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but he is a very entertaining and comedic character.
Yeah.
He's definitely more comedic than... He has a good balance of comedic and serious.
Which is why they distilled him the way that they did.
Yeah, I will say I do like the balance of comedic and serious with him a lot more than I do with Jay. But I feel like Rodney did have a problem of sometimes going too far in one direction or the other.
It is, when you think about it,
silly.
It was
like,
kind
sometimes
of...
he was just kind of confusingly silly. It didn't make any sense for his character.
Yes, I agree. Well, that's why I thought it was a good idea the way that they distilled him, because in theory you'd think like, oh, that just makes less complex characters when you're taking a character who had more traits and then like splits it apart. But it's like, no, you created like a weird kind of thing sometimes where it's like, how exactly is this person affiliated? Like, it was like a very anime kind of thing, like where it's like, wait, are you on our side? Like, how... are we teaming up?
Or with Jay?
With Rodney, when it's like, oh, are we... You're not a good guy per se, but we're kind of chill right now. And
but the thing is, even when he's portrays himself as that, he might just be tricking the characters, kind of like in Green Eyes and Yellow Tulips. But to be fair, it was really obvious. So... Like, oh,
it is kind of abrupt when you think about it, how quickly Rodney slipped from, like, middle school bullying to organized crime.
Yeah, but I'd say
which I guess,
Jellyfish didn't help with that.
No, but even before, I mean, he started doing it before Jellyfish came in, but it was also not entirely as much Rodney's choice as he was coerced into it by his father, who's being blackmailed by Regis.
Yeah, Bart isn't a good influence.
Yes, and he was also like, being threatened.
Bart was like, I also don't want to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I like the Rathbones. They had a lot of longevity as a family, and they put it to good use. They're just fun.
They're so much fun.
They're just good rip-roaring fun. Next family. How long are we?
So, you know what? Jason.
Say the stuff first.
The Whittakers. Whit, Jenny, Jason, Jerry, Jana, Monty. Jenny the second. Harold, Janeth, Fiona, Charlie, and Wilson. Jason's my favorite. Who's your favorite?
Janeth.
I can't remember who Janeth is.
That's Whit's mom.
Oh,
his birth mother. We didn't learn her name until the Journal of John Avery Whittaker.
That would be why.
Yes.
Who's your favorite?
Probably Jason.
Yeah, he has all the best lines.
Yes, he does. I smiled fondly.
All the backstory we've seen of Whit from his childhood and parents and Fiona and Charlie to growing up and Jack and Jenny and Wilson and having kids. Jerry in Vietnam.
It's just a list.
The grandkids' current relationships with Jason and Wilson and Jana and Monty.
Yeah.
Nice description.
It's not supposed to be a description. These were just supposed to be a bullet list of talking points.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Was I supposed to read that?
Not like that, no.
Okay. Well,
We've officially crossed the line of no return where there's no full sentences anymore. I would assume. Who knows what's up next? I don't. I wrote this 2 weeks ago.
I liked how there weren't any periods in that at all.
Nope.
Even at the end.
Nope. Well, because it's not a sentence, Victoria.
I mean, the last one had periods.
Yeah, but we're moving backwards in time.
I know. They're good. I was a little bit hesitant at first, their spot being so high up, because so many of the episodes about Wood's family are about how much they suck. So, I was thinking, like, in terms of how good
but
the
we love it.
families
Also,
are,
every episode that involves the relationship between Whit and Jerry, we just scrummy up. Because
yeah, that's true.
Remember when we first heard, like, the extra non-broadcast scene in Life Expectancy where Jerry talks about thinking about Whit dying? That's what I said.
You've been saying Jerry.
I said Jason.
Jason.
When he talks about, like, Like, Dad, one day you're gonna die and I'm gonna be real sad. And we were like,
That's Ian, like, the reason why I was cool with this being so high up is solely because of Whit and Jason. Also, like, Jerry and Jason are so good, and so are Jana and Jason.
They've also been, like, basically, like, the oldest family dynamic on the show because, you know, Member of the Family was part of Family Portraits. So even before Adventures in Odyssey existed, we were already seeing the relationship.
Family, these are the this is the President family, and they are torn apart. So you were right.
Even from Family Portraits, before AIO was even a thing, we were already seeing, like, Whit and Jenny's broken relationship. I still forget all the time that Jana just appeared a couple episodes ago, or a couple albums ago. I can't.
I remembered that as I was talking about it.
Yeah. Remember? And then she's like,
really?
You're a psychic. I can never talk to you again, best friend. And I'm like, wait, what?
That was a weird episode.
You know what's a great way to, like, win friends of other faith? Tell them when you find out that they're not Christians that you can never speak to them again.
I can't trash that episode because wasn't that the one with Devin in it?
Yes.
And, like, that was...
There was a lot of good stuff in there. It's just
Devin
the end of it.
Mentioned recently.
Yes, he did.
That I was like, he's never gonna let me live this down. Man, why are your characters so much better than my characters?
Oh, shush. You have so many to choose from, though.
I have two, and they both suck.
Excuse me.
I stand by my point.
I don't. I think they're both excellent.
Both of them?
Yes. Selflessly devoted Victoria's amazing.
Yeah, but Victoria isn't. I'm sorry, I must go.
I'm sorry.
I'm getting arrested by the police.
I'm sorry, darling. Ugh. I'm sorry, she doesn't have the range. What about you? She doesn't have the range. I don't have the range.
That's you.
I
It doesn't
don't have
matter.
the range.
I still don't have the range. You know, that is her. You know what? I take back every bad thing I said about her.
I was thinking about that video at work today.
Doesn't matter. I don't have the range. What about Derek? Doesn't have the range.
Yeah, and obviously Victoria Jameson's cool. It's just a cereal company.
Yeah, I've grown to like Victoria Jameson more time. Because my brain learned with time not everything is black and white.
Yeah, she was guilty of the crime of not being a Christian.
Jail!
She was super cool and awesome and hilarious and amazing.
She was.
And you were always like, ugh. I'm like, why? She was great.
I
Just
was
because she wasn't right romantically for Wooten
that
doesn't
she
mean
like
she wasn't
gave up her pool boys. I was like, no, your collection's ruined. I hate you.
Oh, that's why you hate her, because you're a completionist nerd like me.
My OCD, how dare you?
So the Whittakers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Charlie and Wilson.
There's a lot of plot, like right from the get-go. Even in Family Portraits, we're like, here's some development, here's some strife, here's a bunch of backstory about your dead brother.
You didn't put Jack on the list.
I know. He was another one that was honorary in my brain. I know.
Uncle Jack. Uncle Jack.
He's their Uncle Scrooge. Which makes Whit Donald and makes Jenny Jason makes Jason, Jerry, and Jana Hugh, Dewey, and Louie.
Of the things that I've been tempted to ask you to look up in terms of leakage for Kingdom Hearts, I was thinking I really wish there was a confirmed cast list because I still don't know if Jesse McCartney's in it, and I don't know who plays Scrooge. So
I imagine it must be David Tennant.
I mean, they recorded it like last year, so it's gotta be David. Unless they couldn't get him, because there have been some actors that are pretty big.
They got Danny DeVito.
Yeah, they got him for one game, and then they couldn't get him again because he was too big. Which is why I'm saying this.
They should have got on his back.
Stopped him.
Get on the DeVito's back.
They did get Idina Menzel though, and Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell.
They lured her with sleuths.
They put the peeps in the chili and she had to stay. You put the peeps in the chili and you stir it all up. You put the peeps in the chili and you add the M&M.
We're gonna get us copy content IDs.
He's so buff. Why is he so buff? I don't understand. Everyone go watch The Good Place. It's a good show.
It's so good. The Whittakers, plot right from the beginning, plot consistently, all these revelations. And then in the last couple years, they were like, hey, you know how you thought that you knew everything there is to know about the Whittakers because we've been talking about them for a billion years?
And then Paul and Phil and Nathan.
And not Paul.
Not Paul.
Yeah.
And just everyone on the writing staff and Kathy. They just said this into a microphone in a stadium.
They said this.
Full of AIO fans.
Uh-huh.
One lone person yelled from the back in the balcony, "What about his sister?" And it was you.
It was me.
And they pointed to you.
'Twas I, holding the smoking gun that
and they said,
shot whoever it was who went to the theater in the back of the head.
Wait.
I don't remember.
And then they dropped the mic and they walked off the stage.
Just you wait. Just you wait.
And then Devin died.
Yes.
And this is his clone version 3, because that was clone version.
Yes, I am David Parker. 'Tis I.
'Tis I.
'Tis I that set the house ablaze.
'Tis I.
Yeah,
Remember?
so we got, like, Journal John Avery Whittaker, where it's like, hey guys, remember my sister from, like, episode 5?
50 years ago.
Yeah, and everyone except for me was like, no.
What?
Well, no, I mean, like, people in general, I imagine,
Yeah, okay.
didn't remember that Whit had a sister
I thought you were
offhandedly
saying
in one
I
episode.
didn't, and I was just like, all you do is talk about Charlie.
Yeah. Her name was not Julie, as I thought it was.
No, that's why she was the black
But it's
sheep.
fair. It is fair because she did marry into the family. So. And then, yeah, she is also literally
Fiona's like,
was the black sheep of
I'm
the family.
naming her this time. And Harold said, no.
Yeah, Whit's half-sister, they were like, surprise! And then Wilson shows up and is like, surprise, remember how we just reminded you that Whit has a sister? Whit has a brother-in-law who's alive and, like, who he's made regular contact with. You remember all the times that he's talked about his brother-in-law for the last 30 years?
It's me, it's me, Shining Armor, your brother. Remember all the times you've talked about me in every episode? Everyone's lovable Shining Armor. We can't use Zoe anymore, so I gotta go back to basics.
Yeah, we have to go back to the fundamentals, guys.
We have to go back to the beginning.
I wonder if Scootaloo's parents ever showed up. Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows what things could have happened? I
I've
haven't
looked
watched
up
in
enough
seasons.
things I probably could look at. No, apparently they're about to start Gen 5 really soon. Because I was on Jenny's Twitter today and she tweeted something about it.
We're going Gen 5. We're just going back to Gen 3.5. Back to the basics. Back to classics.
Someone did art of Jenny's version of the next gen, and she's like, "They're gonna reboot it soon. Better look like mine."
We're gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say it's just like Kimmy Sparkle now, main character.
No,
it's me, Kimmy Sparkle, the world's biggest Pegasus sister.
Today, Jenny was tweeting about how much Spider-Man.
We should finish this episode.
Far From Home looks like the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Valid.
I know. And then she said the next one is gonna be, I don't know, something about Venom. I can't remember. But, yeah.
So. The Whittakers, they're great. They get a lot of, not a huge ton of development, I guess, except for, stuff involving Jason, because he's the only one besides Whit who, shows up all the time. I have to take this.
I'm gonna go talk about, can I start the next one?
Sure. Hey,
okay.
What's up?
Now we're going to do the next one. So, we are going to talk about number 2 on the list, which is the Barclays. So this is George, Mary, Donna, Jimmy, and Stuart Reed. And my favorite, which Devin's probably going to choose the same one, is Jimmy. So these guys were the first main family on the show. We got them really early in. Obviously, we've seen a lot of development here from Jimmy going through puberty, the kids discovering love and different friendships over the years, and lots of years of the family going on vacations together. We regularly got all the vacations they had, and we got to see a lot of development from year to year with that, and even like summer to winter with that when they went on their ski vacation. There was the whole giant arc of George losing his job and going into seminary and Mary becoming pregnant and all of them getting jobs. And that eventually led into the entire family moving to Pumpkinberry Falls. Is everything good?
I'm back, yep.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite, is, what's his name? Mr. Potter. What's his first name?
Beatrix.
Yes, Beatrix Potter. Bella's Lestrange. Is my favorite character of the Barclay family.
Who's your favorite?
I mean, I guess it's probably Jimmy.
Yeah,
because he's Jimmy Barclay.
You're gonna see all the things I said when you edit this.
And yeah,
I said that you probably chose Jimmy.
Yeah,
and that was it.
It's gonna be like a Play Pals, and like who knows what happened while I was away. Is it the first time I've ever had to like take a phone call during recording before?
I think so.
I think so.
It's not the first time you've been away from the computer during recording, though.
No.
So.
Okay.
I'm in charge.
All right. So what happened while I was gone?
I did the description.
All right. Barclays obviously have like maybe like the most plot development. They had like a whole long ongoing arc of all the things that happened with it, like changed the goalposts throughout it, what was happening. Like George lost his job, is looking for a job. Mary got pregnant. Now George is going to seminary. He graduates. Mary has a baby, trying to look after the baby. George is a pastor now in Odyssey, and he moves to Pumpkinberry Falls, and then he like just shows up periodically from time to time. Unlike Antoine.
Jimmy.
Unlike Antoine.
Unlike Antoine, who's still in college.
Yes. Maybe that's it. He's just still studying. He's becoming like a super doctor. He's like Bruce Banner.
He's the smartest person in existence. He's so wise.
He's like Bruce Banner. He's like, I need 7 PhDs, but they're all in different fields, so I have to start from scratch, like go back to bachelor degree every time.
Oh my gosh.
Which is just like Eugene, really. He's just like a perpetual student.
Yeah, I'm Connie.
Yeah, now.
I was gonna say a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can't remember what that thing is. Oh, okay. Yeah. The first appearance we ever got of the Room of Consequence was actually a family episode in which every family member was portrayed by James Barclay.
Yes.
Which is a strange episode, but it does, like... You do get to know all the characters pretty well in that episode, actually.
Yeah.
Even though they're all Jimmy, which is weird, because I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's, like, my theory, at least.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
It is the only thing that makes sense. There could be
another... That episode is so confusing.
There could be another theory out there. The only thing I can think of is our theory.
Maybe they were all in the room, and they didn't know.
Surprise! It's like Isaac the True Friend.
It's like, do you remember that one show that was, like, a dating show, but there were no lights? Do you remember that? Like, that was like a show that was on TV when we were younger, and like, I remember like in the previews there was like a girl who walked into a room and they had to like touch each other's
I imagine
faces.
The previews were very dull, because just a black screen with subs.
It was called like Dating in the Dark. No, the camera was like infrared or whatever, or something. You could see like it looked like a ghost hunting show, but they were on a date because everyone was like green. And I remember like in the previews they always showed the same clip, and like a girl was touching a guy's face, and she's like, I don't know if this is like someone who looks like Shrek or what. And I was just like, I'm a kid, I like Shrek.
Today we will eat at Shrek. That's weird, because, like, if you brought a blind person on the show, it would be, like, NBD.
No, that was funny, because, like, that was the joke about the show that people made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I got the zeitgeist of it.
It's like we're back in the mid-2000s.
Well, everything's so much worse. But for the world, it's so much better. Yeah, obviously, like, they're the Barclays, you know? It's like, what do we need to say here?
They got everything.
Beyond, like, the whole main arc of their family, like it said in the thing, like, we had this ongoing stuff of their vacations. Like, every year we got to see their vacations. And you know what the thing I like is when you listen to them all together, is that they're not just standalone vacation episodes. They also, like, have direct continuity to each other.
So there were at least 4 seasons of this show.
Cool.
This was a show I saw people reference. Oh, and there were, like, there's a US version, there was a UK version. This was a show I saw referenced a lot when I saw things saying, like, oh, these kinds of people aren't ruining marriage, white people are, and, like, straight people. And
it's straight people.
Like that. Yeah, I meant straight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, coming of age, like, getting to see Jimmy and Dave both going through puberty, and, like, we got to see this family age more in, like, a real time kind of thing, more so than any other family that we've seen on the show, which is kind of the coolest thing about the Barclays. They're like what's it called? That movie where they actually filmed it over, like, 10 years or whatever of, like, the kid growing
Boyhood.
up. Yeah.
There was, like, a TV show or something like that I saw something about in one of my courses a couple days ago, and it mentioned a family in the show that moved to a place, and I swear the name was Pokenberry Falls. Like,
it's possible, I guess.
It was weird. But yeah.
Maybe so. Yeah, Barclays, they're cool. All right, number 1 family.
I wonder who it is.
You already know who it is, because the only one we haven't talked about that we talk about all the time, I
thought that said Ham first.
I guess I should read this one, because you read the last one, because I answered the phone. It's the Meltsners. We got Eugene, we got Katrina, we got Buck, and Leonard, and Thelma, and Everett, and Hiram, and Bernard, and Millie, and Armitage.
And Maud.
Well, yeah, it was a stretch including Bernard. We've never heard Maud talk to Eugene before any other member of the family except for Bernard.
She was so concerned when he was hurt.
Not like Uncle Pete didn't get kicked by a cow. Yeah, she was real excited.
Oh no, favorite. Oh no, I know what yours is gonna be, but what's mine gonna be?
I mean, I guess it's Eugene, but, like, dang, there's a lot of good characters in here.
I can't. Oh no. Oh, why did I do this to myself?
You're entirely your fault.
I wish I could go back in time an hour and stop myself. Oh no.
An hour and a half, please, Arturo. We've been recording this for a long time.
Oh, dang. I didn't realize that. I can't choose. I refuse.
Well, you gotta.
You're the description first. I'm gonna take a while.
All right. So kind of the developmental stages of the Meltsner family. We start out with Eugene being alone and being like, oh, I'm the last in a long line of Meltsners. My parents are dead, and everyone I loved is dead.
My parents are dead.
My parents are dead. I sound like my son I don't have
Money
yet.
boy!
And then he finds out about Bernard. He finds out about Hiram. He discovers his dad, and then, like, learning that he had a brother. And he meets Katrina, and they're dating and breaking up and dating and breaking up and getting engaged, married, running around the world, starting a charity. And then Buck comes into the scene, and he's kidnapping them, and then they're adopting him, and then they get a dog, and then
they got Stockholm Syndrome.
And then they protect and also attack.
I forgot about their dog.
Yes, they protect Buck.
You didn't include their dog.
That's true, I didn't.
But what's their dog?
I can't remember.
Oh no.
It was something, like, common like, dog name?
Yeah. Spot.
Was it Spot?
Yeah.
Okay. Protecting Buck from imminent family past, which I think I think all of those episodes are out now.
Yeah,
probably
they are.
I know. I've wanted to record so that we can listen to them.
Man, it's almost like I have things in my life other than this podcast.
Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah, I know, which is sad.
I don't know why I made my, like, one of my main hobbies for the last, like, quarter of my life tied to someone else's schedule and availability. It was such a dumb idea.
It was my idea. That's why. You can't say I'm wrong.
The Meltsners are awesome. So, yeah, gone through, like, a ridiculous amount of plot stuff and obviously a ridiculous amount of character developmental stuff.
I chose Eugene because I think his emotional beats are stronger than Bernard's.
Oh, is that who is between for you?
Yeah.
Yes. No, Eugene has gone through, like, obviously lots of plot stuff that I just said, but, like, emotionally, the development Eugene has gone through from being, like, this young, arrogant upstart. I don't need to listen to Mr. Whittaker about what I can invent because I know best.
My heart would hurt immensely, and I would be like, how could you? Mm-hmm. I will hurt all of you who wrote this, but not actually. When Eugene cries, I, like, legit cry. So he wins. Who is it between for you?
Eugene and Katrina and Buck.
What about Bernard?
Well, I like Bernard, but, like, Eugene and Katrina and Buck. I mean, I've often said that Eugene is my favorite character on the show.
Yeah, well, I knew you would pick Eugene.
Yeah, but I was like, but also Buck is great. And Katrina is also great.
And I think he also has a wife in there somewhere.
And you know who's awesome? Thelma.
You know who doesn't appear by herself enough? Katrina.
Thelma. No, I mean, yeah, Katrina has gotten not enough. A number of episodes by herself where she's teaching, but not as many as I'd like, personally.
I feel like I wish there were episodes centered around Katrina that didn't have to do with her teaching, and Eugene and Buck weren't in them.
Have we ever even really, since Buck came back, post GRC, have we even got episodes about Katrina and Buck without Eugene?
I don't think so.
I want to focus on their relationship. How are Katrina and Buck doing?
I mean, we've gotten to see them when Eugene's at work. In brief moments.
When he's never around because he's busy getting tenure or whatever. He's busy kidnapping blind girls so that he can get tenure. It was a promotion. It wasn't even tenure, but...
Katrina sees a blind girl tied up in the garage, and she's like, you said you wouldn't do this.
I had to go through this once, Eugene.
Katrina, protector of blind girls. Blind girl protector, guardian of the blind girls.
Eugene quivers before her.
Tenure-seeking professors quiver before her.
Leave them alone. Respectfully, but firmly.
Respect their boundaries.
Don't take advantage of their disabilities. Kindly, and thank you.
But, like, this episode's so good, though. Oh my gosh.
I love the fact that Buck came back so much. I remember after Green Ring Conspiracy and being on, like, the forums, back when forums were a thing that people used on the internet.
Everyone was like, give them a kid. And they're like, we're not giving them a kid. Like,
and everyone's like, give them Buck. Let them adopt Buck. Let them adopt Buck. They have to do it. Everyone's like, it makes so much sense. Why won't you do it? There's literally no reason not to. And it's so good. And then it actually happened. And we were all like, holy crap, they actually did it. I never thought they would actually do it.
People say that about shows, it's a bad thing, but this time it was good.
No, I couldn't believe that they actually did it. And it's so good.
It's like, honestly, everything I could have hoped for.
They've had so many, like, entire arcs of development. Like, obviously, Eugene and Katrina's relationship is a whole thing. The arc of Eugene figuring out what they're going to do, like, business-wise with, like, Hand Up and Manu Sarsam and Please and stuff is a whole arc. All of the stuff with Leonard and Everett and Thelma is a whole thing. Like, all of his relationship stuff early on with, like, Bernard. Eugene becoming a Christian, how that affects his relationship with Katrina. And now we have Buck and we have their relationship and the three of them together, figuring out what that means, which is then, you know, is going to like catalyze and be all climactic in this album.
All the family members that have been listed in all the different families, lots of the time, all the family members aren't really characterized at all in the show, let alone given depth and, like, are really, really interesting. Every single character in the Meltsner family on this list has not only characterization, but is also, like, has depth and is super, super interesting. Even Thelma, who's only been in, like, a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Like, Hiram, I could write an actual essay on Hiram, and he hasn't even, like, said any words.
He was dead by the time he first showed up. So was Thelma. Yeah, like, Hiram, and examining, like, you know, his relationship with Leonard and his expectations versus, like, how that drove a wedge between them and the regret that he felt for the rest of his life.
His piggy bank for Eugene.
I know. Talking about, like, Everett and this, like, Stockholm syndrome where he was, like, conflicted over the fact that, like, he had a genuinely caring father in Dalton Cairn. And figuring out, like, what to do, where do his loyalties lie. Leonard has not only all this stuff with Eugene and, like, whether or not I wanted to be a father and all this stuff about, like, oh, I'm scared after I come back, and before I left, like, I didn't want to be a father, and I didn't know how to be a father because I didn't know how to, like, balance you with my passion for my work. But also little stuff, like, I appreciate so much the way how he's like, oh, he's so distasteful of Eugene's faith and stuff because he lived in a place where he saw people who were trapped by their faith and how it, like, destroyed their lives because of the way that, like, their faith trapped them and stuff like that.
Thelma's relationship with Joanne.
Yeah.
Thelma's wedding and marriage to Leonard. Oh my gosh. There's so much more stuff going on there, and she left.
The ongoing, like, how everything must have been, like,
oh my gosh,
with between Leonard and Thelma and Dalton as a triangle of people, like, after that happened, but they continued to know Dalton going forward in time and, like, all of that.
I can't remember, did Thelma ever date Dalton, or he just wanted...
No, they were a thing.
And then
she broke up with Dalton and got together with Leonard.
And then Leonard and Dalton were just, like, business partners.
Yeah.
It's like, they thought it was, like, the Santa Claus, but it very much was not.
Well, I mean, in fairness, it's also, like, Jenny was going out with Jack, and then broke up and then got together with Whit.
Yeah, but Jack is a normal human being who's reasonable.
And doesn't kidnap your children and raise them as your own.
Oh my gosh, but, like...
And tell you that they're dead.
Jason and Jerry and Jan are raised by Jack would have been really good, though. I'm not saying... you know what I mean? Like, he would have been a good dad.
I mean, it would be an interesting AU, I'll give you that.
If anything happened... No, I'm saying if anything bad happened to Whit and Jenny, them being raised by him would have been interesting. Yeah. I will admit, though, Jack and the whole thing going on with Emily would have been tough to handle.
Yeah.
But... No, actually, maybe things are better the way they are. Never mind.
Okay,
I don't know where I went with
I think that's about all I have to say about these families. We should go through the list one more time to remind people.
So good.
Okay, so number 10, the Parkers. David, Ava, Olivia, Matthew, Camilla, and Lucia.
Number 9, the Mulligans. Mike, Tracy, Lisa, Nick, Jessica, Janelle, Hector, Tony, and Brianna, and all them animals.
Number 8, the Shepards. Ben, Ellen, Aubrey, and Bethany.
Bassett's. Wooten, Penny, Wellington, Talia, Winston, Hadley, Bradford, Wooten's grandpa, Wilma, Frank Wise, Eleanor Wise, and Charlotte.
Charlotte doesn't get a last name. Also, I guess we don't know if her last name is Wise or if she took
married?
Her. Well, she is. That doesn't necessarily mean her last name isn't Wise, but we don't know if it is or not.
Honestly, I feel like she would probably, her last name would probably still be Wise. She'd be like, I'm not changing.
Wasn't she a doctor or something? Was she a doctor? Or was she something else? I don't remember.
She talked about the weather a lot, I think, or something. I don't remember.
She's a weather doctor. Number 6, the Kendalls. Connie, June, Bill, Jules, Mildred, Joe, Helen, Jan, and April.
She fixes clouds when they start raining so they're not sad anymore.
Aww.
Washington's Elaine, Antoine, who's still at college.
Who's still at large. It's like E.B. Gooding or whatever. The guy, like, fell out of the plane and might be Tommy Wiseau.
Xavier, Marvin, Tamika, and Kelly.
DB Cooper, that's his name. Number 4, Rathbones, Bart, Doris, and Rodney.
The Whittakers, Whit, Jenny, Jason, Jerry, Jana, Monty, Jenny II, Harold, Janeth, Fiona, Charlie, and Wilson.
Number 2, the Barclays, Georgia, Mary, Donna, Jimmy, Stewart, Reed. Jimmy Stewart Reed.
And the Meltsners, Eugene, Katrina, Buck, Leonard, Thelma, Everett, Hiram, Bernard, and Maud.
And Millie and Armitage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of Katrina's unnamed,
Brother.
still at large brothers who are also at college.
They're Antoine's
with
professors.
Antoine. I want this to be the new running joke we have every time.
Every missing characters, they're at college with Antoine.
College with Antoine. It's the only.
It's like roommates, but like the opposite. It's like the place where all the random characters go to disappear.
It's the nega roommates.
Yeah.
This is we have to write it now that roommates is over.
No.
So roommates is over.
Okay, what do we do
I like
next
to
time?
think that there's like a nega Campbell College that's also in Odyssey or maybe in Connellsville.
It's underground though. It's underground.
It's underground.
It's like the upside down.
And that's where all the characters are trapped. They can't leave. But it might be like the Lotus Eaters. What if they don't want to leave? Ooh. Their next arc is going to be us saving them from college. We got to save Antoine and Katrina's brothers. You know what I want so bad? I want
to record the next episode.
I want an episode with Eugene, and he gets all competitive with Katrina's brothers, and they have like a sports day or something like that, or they go to an arcade and they're trying to skeet shoot and they're better than him.
Skeet.
I don't know. Maybe actually, I like the idea that Eugene's just unreasonably good at just like arcade games and stuff like that. Not only
he already got that with fishing though.
Not only because he like spends time with Buck and stuff, but because they're so similar to like the mechanics at Wit's End, and he can just like
he just thinks
it's
about
like
the physics
the math
of it.
Meme,
yeah,
and then he just like gets like a 500 or however high the ski shoot things go.
But it could also be like in Voltorb when you saw like Pidge doing the thing in the game show where she's like, she does like the whole like math meme. And then she just screws it up immediately. Kind of like Ray in season 1 when he's doing track and field and just smashes into the high bar.
And no, he doesn't.
He does. He makes the jump sometimes, but there's also the one where he just like hits the bar.
Say when he when he jumps into water for the first time.
Okay,
he's just like, I know how to do this, and then he belly flops.
You're correct. That is a much better comparison.
Okay. Next episode, because I have to go do homework.
Next episode is...
Oh, I'm reading it.
Yeah, that's your job.
We're doing the OIC December episode, which is out to sea.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be doing the Star Part 2.
Yes.
Which, oh man, I could have sworn we already recorded that one, but
I know.
it's not.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
And the OIC 2018 review.
It's all a blur.
It's all a blur. Life is a blur.
Life is a blur. I want to curl out the window because we're in a car also still all night long. Thank you for joining us on our side of YouTube.
And I love Cars 4. Bye, guys.
Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltsner.
And people say they wonder why Cars 2 wasn't as successful as the first one.
And
such stellar bops.
This has been the...
I Want to Hurl. Sung by
Life is a Blur.
Devin.
This has been the Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast, and this has been a really long episode for like a countdown discussion episode.
Sorry.
That's not it's both of our fault. Goodbye.
Bye.